We had some thunderstorms here, but lucky for us, it wasn't anything too severe.
Overnight, an outbreak of violent storms on the East Coast, unleashing destructive winds, torrential downpours, and damaging hail.
Aaron?
In Westminster, Maryland, dozens of people, including children, were stuck in their cars after nearly 30 power poles came crashing down. Everyone was safely rescued.
I've never seen anything like this before.
This reminds me of when a tornado came through our area. It knocked down a bunch of power poles going down the highway.
In my entire life.
The stormy conditions continuing up and down the East Coast, bringing dangerous winds and reports of tornadoes, and roads flooding as drivers struggle to get home. In the Washington, D.C. suburbs, wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour at the height of rush hour, slamming trees into homes and onto power lines. Ahead of the bad weather, federal workers in the nation's capital urged to leave work early Monday.
This is the most ominous shot of the day.
The same storm system hammering parts of East Tennessee and South Carolina,
There's going to be a tree on the garage there advising a child been trapped in the garage.
where officials say a falling tree killed a 15-year-old. While in Alabama, lightning struck and killed a 28-year-old man. As the wild weather closed in, thousands of flight delays on the East Coast meant some travelers had to find another way home.
At this point, we are going to try to rent a car and just drive.
Now, some of the busiest airports are still playing catch up this morning, but nothing like what we saw last night. Meanwhile, here in LaGuardia, I just checked, fewer than 24 delays and cancellations, so slowly things are starting to improve. Craig?
All right, some good news there, Kathy Park. Kathy, thank you.
So what can you expect today for that week? Say good morning to Mr. Al Roker for some answers. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys, and good morning to you. Over 600 storm reports yesterday, second most so far this year. 9 million people impacted right now. The heaviest rain is moving up into New England, so they've got flood watches there. That will still dump about 4 inches of rain more in parts of New England, especially up into Maine. Now, for today, 7 million people stretching from the southeastern Atlantic coast all the way into the plains for damaging hail, wind gusts of 60 miles per hour, and we can't rule out a tornado or two. And then Wednesday, St. Louis, Kansas City, Nashville, Starkville, 15 million people, wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, tornadoes possible, damaging hail.
Yeah, at least it'll cool down the area a bit and maybe help break this heat wave that's been going on around the nation.
The system comes out of the central Rockies, producing strong winds, hail, and tornadoes today. Then tomorrow, that low pressure moves into northern Arkansas, bringing a flash flood risk increase for the Midwest. And what we're looking at generally is about 4 to 5 inches, possibly in some isolated sections from St. Louis, Little Rock, on up into Indianapolis. We're going to be watching that very closely. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to talk about 52 million people still under heat advisories and heat warnings from Miami all the way to Texas.